There are places in the world where taboo doesn't exist. Places where freedom is expressed in ways that might surprise you, or even shock you. Today, we're going to unveil the secrets of 7 countries where sexual freedom is not just a right, but a way of life. Sex. It's a word that sparks curiosity, controversy, and, for some, liberation. But what if I told you that in some parts of the world, sex is celebrated in ways that challenge everything you thought you knew? In a world where societal norms often dictate how we express our sexuality, some countries stand out for their progressive and liberal attitudes toward sex. These are places where freedom isn't just about the political or economic spheres but extends deeply into personal lives, embracing diverse expressions of love, desire, and identity. Sexual freedom isn't just about the ability to engage in sexual activity. It's about how societies view sex as part of human life, whether it's celebrated, tolerated, or shamed. In this video, we'll explore 7 countries that embody sexual freedom in their own unique ways. From the liberal policies of the Netherlands to the celebratory spirit of Brazil, these nations are leading the way in redefining how we think about sex. Trust me, by the end of this video, your perception of sexual norms might just change forever. When you think of sexual freedom, one country probably comes to mind first: the Netherlands. Known for its liberal approach, the Netherlands has been at the forefront of sexual rights for decades. Here, sex is seen as a natural part of life, and the Dutch have built a culture around openness and acceptance. The Dutch approach to sex is rooted in a broader societal commitment to tolerance, equality, and personal freedom. This is a country where sex education starts early, focusing not just on the mechanics of sex but on relationships, consent, and respect. By the time Dutch teenagers are of age, they've received comprehensive, realistic education about sex, which contributes to the country's low rates of teenage pregnancy and sexually transmitted infections. One of the most famous aspects of Dutch sexual culture is the red light district in Amsterdam. Far from being a seedy underbelly, the red light district is a regulated and safe environment where sex workers have rights and protections. The legalization of prostitution in the Netherlands is a reflection of the country's pragmatic approach to sex. It's not seen as something to be hidden away but as a profession like any other, deserving of respect and legal safeguards. But the Netherlands' commitment to sexual freedom goes beyond just legalization. The country is also a global leader in LGBTQ+ rights. Same-sex marriage has been legal in the Netherlands since 2001, making it the first country in the world to do so. The Dutch attitude towards sexual orientation and gender identity is one of acceptance and inclusion, with strong anti-discrimination laws protecting LGBTQ+ individuals. This culture of openness extends to Dutch media and public life as well. Nudity and sexual content are treated with a level of normalcy in Dutch television, art, and literature that might shock more conservative societies. This isn't to say that the Dutch are obsessed with sex, rather, they treat it as a normal part of human life, something to be discussed openly and honestly rather than cloaked in secrecy and shame. This approach has had a profound impact on Dutch society, contributing to high levels of sexual health and well-being. But what's perhaps most interesting about the Netherlands is the way it balances freedom with responsibility. The Dutch understand that with the freedom to express one's sexuality comes the responsibility to do so in a way that is respectful and consensual. This is reflected in their strong emphasis on sexual consent and mutual respect in both personal relationships and public policy. The Netherlands isn't just a pioneer in legal reforms, it's a model for how societies can approach sex in a way that is both liberating and responsible. In a world where sex is often surrounded by taboos and misconceptions, the Dutch have created an environment where people are free to explore their sexuality in a safe, healthy, and respectful manner. This is why the Netherlands is often seen as the gold standard for sexual freedom, and why it continues to be a beacon for those seeking to challenge the status quo. Next, we travel to Brazil, a country where passion and sensuality are deeply ingrained in the culture. Brazil is famous for its exuberant carnival, its stunning beaches, and its lively nightlife, all of which reflect a society that celebrates the body and embraces sexual expression. Brazilian culture is a vibrant mix of African, European, and indigenous influences, and this diversity is reflected in the country's attitudes toward sex. In Brazil, sexuality is often celebrated openly, without the puritanical attitudes that prevail in many other parts of the world. This is a country where sensuality is seen as a natural part of life, something to be enjoyed and celebrated rather than repressed or hidden away. Carnival, perhaps Brazil's most famous cultural event, is a perfect example of this. During Carnival, the streets of Rio de Janeiro and other cities come alive with music, dancing, and extravagant costumes. The festival is known for its uninhibited atmosphere, where people of all ages, genders, and sexual orientations come together to celebrate life and love. The sensuality of the samba dancers, the elaborate costumes, and the festive atmosphere all contribute to an environment where sexual expression is encouraged and embraced. But Brazil's sexual freedom isn't just about public celebrations like Carnival. The country also has a thriving LGBTQ+ scene, with cities like Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro being home to some of the largest and most vibrant LGBTQ+ communities in the world. Brazil hosts some of the biggest pride parades globally, attracting millions of participants and highlighting the country's commitment to LGBTQ+ rights. However, it's important to note that Brazil's relationship with sexual freedom is complex. While the country is known for its openness and celebration of sexuality, it also faces significant challenges. Conservative and religious groups have often pushed back against progressive sexual policies, and there is still a high level of violence against LGBTQ+ individuals, particularly transgender people. Despite these challenges, Brazil's overall culture remains one that values sexual freedom and celebrates diversity. In recent years, Brazil has also made strides in sexual education and health. The government has implemented programs aimed at reducing teenage pregnancy and promoting safe sex practices, with a particular focus on marginalized communities. These efforts have been met with both praise and resistance, reflecting the ongoing tension between Brazil's liberal sexual culture and its more conservative elements. Despite these challenges, Brazil continues to be a country where sexual freedom is celebrated in all its forms. Whether it's the passion of Carnival, the openness of the LGBTQ+ community, or the everyday acceptance of diverse sexual identities, Brazil is a place where people are free to express their sexuality in a way that is both joyful and inclusive. In the heart of Scandinavia lies Sweden, a country known for its progressive stance on gender equality, social justice, and sexual rights. Sweden's approach to sex is pragmatic and informed, with a strong focus on consent, mutual respect, and the well-being of all individuals involved. Sweden has long been a pioneer in sexual education and rights. In the 1950s, Sweden became one of the first countries in the world to introduce comprehensive sex education in schools. This education is not just about the biology of sex, it also includes discussions about relationships, consent, and respect for others' boundaries. The Swedish approach to sex education is often seen as a model for other countries, with its emphasis on creating informed, responsible, and respectful individuals. One of the key aspects of Swedish sexual culture is its focus on consent. Sweden's laws around sexual consent are among the strictest in the world, requiring explicit agreement from all parties involved in sexual activity. This approach reflects a broader societal commitment to gender equality and the belief that everyone has the right to control their own body and sexual experiences. In addition to its strong legal framework, Sweden also has a thriving adult industry that operates within the bounds of respect and legality. The country has a well-regulated pornography industry, and prostitution is legal for the buyer but not for the seller, a model known as the Nordic model that is designed to protect sex workers from exploitation while targeting those who seek to exploit them. But Sweden's commitment to sexual freedom goes beyond just legal rights. The country also fosters a culture of openness and respect when it comes to discussing sex. Swedish media and literature often explore themes of sexuality in a way that is both frank and respectful. There is a strong cultural belief that sex is a natural part of life, and that it should be treated with the same respect and consideration as any other aspect of human existence. This pragmatic approach to sex has led to high levels of sexual health and well-being in Sweden. The country has low rates of sexually transmitted infections and unwanted pregnancies, thanks in part to its comprehensive sex education and accessible healthcare services. Sweden also has one of the highest rates of condom use in the world, reflecting a strong cultural emphasis on safe sex practices. Sweden's approach to sexual freedom is a reflection of its broader commitment to equality, respect, and the well-being of all its citizens. In a world where sex is often surrounded by stigma and shame, Sweden stands out as a country where sexual freedom is not just a right, but a responsibility to oneself and to others. This is why Sweden is often seen as a leader in sexual rights and why it continues to inspire other countries to adopt a more progressive approach to sex. Germany is a country where history, culture, and modernity collide to create a unique environment for sexual expression. From the avant-garde nightlife of Berlin to the rich history of sexual rights movements, Germany embraces a diverse range of sexual identities and practices, making it one of the most sexually liberated countries in the world. Berlin, in particular, has become synonymous with sexual freedom. The city's vibrant nightlife is famous worldwide, attracting people from all over the globe who are seeking a place where they can express themselves freely and without judgment. Berlin is home to a thriving club scene that includes everything from techno raves to BDSM parties, catering to a wide range of tastes and preferences. This open-minded approach to sexual expression is deeply rooted in Germany's history. The country was one of the first in the world to recognize the rights of sexual minorities, with the first gay rights organization, the Scientific Humanitarian Committee, being founded in Berlin in 1897. Despite the repression of sexual minorities during the Nazi era, Germany has since become a global leader in LGBTQ+ rights. Same-sex relationships have been legal since 1969, and same-sex marriage was legalized in 2017. Germany's approach to sexual freedom is also reflected in its laws and public policies. Prostitution has been legal and regulated in Germany since 2002, with sex workers enjoying legal protections and access to healthcare. The country also has a well-regulated pornography industry, and adult content is widely available and accepted as part of mainstream culture. But Germany's commitment to sexual freedom goes beyond just legal rights. The country has a strong culture of sexual education, with comprehensive sex education being mandatory in schools. Germany's sex education system is designed to create informed, responsible, and respectful individuals, contributing to the country's high levels of sexual health and well-being. Germany is also home to a number of museums and cultural institutions that explore the history of sex and sexuality. The Schwulz Museum in Berlin, for example, is one of the world's largest and most important museums dedicated to LGBTQ+ history and culture. These institutions reflect Germany's commitment to preserving and celebrating its rich history of sexual rights and freedoms. Germany's approach to sexual freedom is a reflection of its broader cultural values. This is a country that values individual freedom, respect for others, and the importance of informed and responsible decision-making. Whether it's the vibrant nightlife of Berlin, the legal protections for sex workers, or the comprehensive sex education system, Germany offers a model for how societies can approach sex in a way that is both liberating and respectful. In Southeast Asia, Thailand stands out for its complex and fascinating relationship with sex. Known for its adult entertainment industry, Thailand is a country where sexual expression has many layers, influenced by both tradition and modernity. The country's unique blend of openness and discretion has made it a popular destination for those seeking sexual freedom. Thailand's adult entertainment industry is world famous, attracting millions of tourists each year who come to experience the country's vibrant nightlife. From the bustling streets of Bangkok's Patpong district to the beach resorts of Pattaya, Thailand offers a wide range of adult entertainment options, catering to a diverse clientele. This industry is a major part of Thailand's economy, contributing billions of dollars each year and providing employment to hundreds of thousands of people. But Thailand's relationship with sex is not just about the adult entertainment industry. The country also has a long history of gender fluidity and acceptance of diverse sexual identities. The concept of cat hoi, often referred to as ladyboys, is a recognized and accepted part of Thai culture. Cat hoi are transgender women or effeminate men, and they have been a part of Thai society for centuries. While they still face discrimination and challenges, cat hoi are often more accepted in Thailand than transgender individuals are in many other parts of the world. Thailand's cultural approach to sex is influenced by its predominantly Buddhist religion, which generally takes a pragmatic approach to human desires. While Buddhism does emphasize self-control and the avoidance of excessive indulgence, it also teaches compassion and tolerance. This has contributed to a culture where sexual expression is often approached with a sense of acceptance and fluidity. However, Thailand's sexual freedom is not without its challenges. The country has high rates of HIV/AIDS, particularly among sex workers and men who have sex with men. The Thai government and various NGOs have implemented a number of programs aimed at reducing the spread of HIV and promoting safe sex practices, but challenges remain. Thailand's approach to sexual education is also mixed. While there is some level of sex education in schools, it is often inconsistent and limited in scope. This has led to gaps in knowledge and understanding about sexual health, particularly among young people. Efforts are being made to improve sexual education in Thailand, but progress has been slow. Despite these challenges, Thailand remains a country where sexual freedom is embraced in many forms. Whether it's the vibrant adult entertainment industry, the acceptance of diverse gender identities, or the cultural approach to sex, Thailand offers a unique perspective on what it means to live freely and express one's sexuality. France, the country of love and romance, is known for its sophisticated and subtle approach to sexual freedom. In France, sex is not just an act but an art form, a reflection of the country's rich cultural history and its commitment to the pleasures of life. The French approach to sex is deeply rooted in the country's history of intellectualism, art, and philosophy. French literature and cinema have long explored themes of love, desire, and sexuality, often pushing the boundaries of what is considered acceptable. From the provocative works of authors like Marquis de Sade and Colette to the daring films of directors like François Truffaut and Catherine Breillat, French culture has always been at the forefront of exploring the complexities of human sexuality. This cultural openness is reflected in French attitudes toward sex. In France, sex is seen as a natural and important part of life, something to be enjoyed and celebrated rather than shamed or hidden away. French society places a high value on pleasure, sensuality, and the enjoyment of life, and this extends to its attitudes towards sex. Whether it's the art of seduction, the importance of sexual satisfaction, or the celebration of romantic love, France embodies a culture where sexual freedom is intertwined with the broader joys of life. France is also known for its progressive attitudes toward relationships and family life. The country has long been a leader in gender equality and reproductive rights, with access to contraception and abortion being widely available and protected by law. Same-sex relationships have been legal since 1791, and same-sex marriage was legalized in 2013. France also has strong anti-discrimination laws that protect LGBTQ+ individuals, and there is a high level of social acceptance of diverse sexual orientations and gender identities. One of the most famous aspects of French sexual culture is its attitude toward infidelity. While cheating is not condoned, it is often treated with a level of understanding and discretion that is rare in other parts of the world. The French approach to infidelity is complex and often reflects a broader cultural belief in the importance of privacy and the nuanced nature of human relationships. French sex education is designed to create informed and responsible individuals who are capable of making healthy choices about their sexual lives. France's commitment to sexual freedom is also reflected in its legal and public policies. The country has a well-regulated pornography industry, and adult content is widely available and accepted as part of mainstream culture. Prostitution is legal and regulated, with sex workers enjoying legal protections and access to healthcare. But France's sexual freedom isn't just about legal rights and public policies. It's also about the country's broader cultural values that place a high importance on pleasure, respect, and the enjoyment of life. Whether it's the art of seduction, the celebration of love, or the commitment to gender equality, France offers a model for how societies can approach sex in a way that is both sophisticated and liberating. Last but certainly not least, we arrive in Japan, a country where tradition and modernity collide to create a unique and often surprising sexual landscape. Japan's relationship with sex is complex, reflecting a blend of conservative values and avant-garde expressions that make it one of the most fascinating countries when it comes to sexual freedom. Japan's sexual culture is deeply influenced by its history and traditions. For centuries, sex was approached in Japan with a level of openness and acceptance that was rare in other parts of the world. The country has a long history of erotic art and literature, known as shunga, which depicted sexual acts in explicit detail and was widely circulated among the population. Shunga was not considered obscene but rather a natural expression of human desires, reflecting a cultural belief that sex is a normal and important part of life. However, Japan's relationship with sex has also been shaped by more conservative influences. The country's post-war era saw a shift towards more conservative attitudes, influenced in part by Western values and the rise of the nuclear family. This led to a period where sex was treated with more discretion, and public expressions of sexuality were often suppressed. In recent years, Japan has seen a resurgence of sexual freedom, particularly in its urban centers. Tokyo, in particular, has become a global hub for sexual subcultures, offering a wide range of adult entertainment options and alternative lifestyles. The city's love hotel districts, where couples can rent rooms by the hour, are a reflection of Japan's unique approach to sex, one that balances privacy with pleasure. Japan is also home to a thriving adult entertainment industry, which includes everything from pornography to sex toys to themed cafes where patrons can engage in light sexual activities. This industry is highly regulated, with strict laws around the production and distribution of adult content. Despite these regulations, Japan's adult entertainment industry is one of the largest in the world, reflecting a cultural acceptance of sex as a form of entertainment and expression. One of the most fascinating aspects of Japan's sexual culture is its approach to gender and sexuality. Japan has a long history of gender fluidity, with traditional theater forms like kabuki featuring male actors playing female roles. This fluidity is reflected in modern Japan as well, with a growing acceptance of LGBTQ+ identities and a vibrant queer scene in cities like Tokyo and Osaka. However, Japan's sexual freedom is not without its challenges. The country has a declining birth rate and an aging population, which has led to concerns about the future of its society. There is also a significant gap between Japan's urban and rural areas when it comes to attitudes towards sex, with more conservative views often prevailing in the countryside. Japan's approach to sexual education is also complex. While there is some level of sex education in schools, it is often limited in scope and focuses more on biology than on relationships or consent. This has led to gaps in knowledge and understanding about sexual health, particularly among young people. Despite these challenges, Japan remains a country where sexual freedom is expressed in unique and often surprising ways. Whether it's the country's rich history of erotic art, its thriving adult entertainment industry, or its growing acceptance of diverse sexual identities, Japan offers a fascinating perspective on what it means to live freely and express one's sexuality. Sexual freedom is a concept that varies greatly across the globe, shaped by culture, history, and societal values. The 7 countries we've explored today each offer a unique perspective on what it means to live freely and express oneself without boundaries. From the liberal policies of the Netherlands to the celebratory spirit of Brazil, these nations are leading the way in redefining how we think about sex. But what's important to remember is that sexual freedom is not just about the ability to engage in sexual activity, it's about how societies view sex as part of human life. It's about the right to explore and express one's sexuality in a way that is respectful, consensual, and free from judgment. It's about the freedom to be who you are, love who you love, and live your life without fear or shame. So, which country's approach resonates with you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Who knows what other intriguing secrets we'll uncover next time?